My problem with that is that 5 police officers were assigned to one guy committing a nonviolent crime. Regardless of what happens after that, whether he's alive and well today, as he should be, or whether he took the route that we've all heard, I got a problem that the most crime-ridden city in America had a police captain assign 5 guys in broad daylight to go and accost a guy who's committing a nonviolent crime, and that's not being discussed. Is that being discussed in New York? Do you guys talk about it as you walk around?
It's an absolutely huge issue up here. But here's the thing. I think it's been made in, obviously, via media. It's been turned into a race issue, and I don't think it has, while there's absolutely race involved in this, because I don't think 5 cops would have had to take down a white guy for selling cigarettes. I mean, that's putting that on the record. But the situation is, why the hell are we assigning 5 cops to deal with somebody peddling cigarettes?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the question.
There are so many real laws to attack, and there are so many really violent crimes in that city. And that's the reason why I keep, I'm up in the city and I do my stuff up there, but I keep my home here in, Pennsylvania in the woods, because frankly, there is a violence issue up there, and it's a little chaotic. So, I mean, when we're dealing with the police officers on the streets harassing people, I mean, really and truly, for tax evasion, essentially the crime that he was committing is you're not paying taxes on those cigarettes that you're selling individually. That would be like me at Halloween going out and opening up the little Skittles packets and then selling Skittles on the street that say not for individual resale. It's a bullshit crime that really and truly it should never have happened, and it should never have played out the way it did.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Is there a race issue involved? Yeah, but that's we could blow up on that conversation all day.
Yeah, and I don't see it that way either. I never get too hung up on the race thing. I'm able to kind of close my eyes and just replace the players, whether they're all black, they're mixed, this guy's white, whatever it is. And if I can do that and still objectively come away with the same decision, I think that's the simple best way to handle that, to find out, okay, am I saying this because I'm angry about race or not? But this has nothing to do with race. He could be black or white. It should have happened. The cops should not.
Correct.
There just shouldn't have been 5 of them. And, the other thing is, and I really wasn't looking to go in this direction, but since we're here, they jumped him. If you and I are face-to-face, and things begin to escalate, and eventually you attack me, that's not great. But that is a little bit better if we're face-to-face and things escalate. This guy was standing there, and the only defense that he put up was gravity. He never pushed, punched. The only thing he had, defensive-wise, was that his 2 feet were on the ground and that gravity was pulling him there, and they had to take him down. I'm okay with all of it. I don't necessarily get it, but I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what in the hell they can do. I got a problem when 5 guys attack one. And I don't think that the answer has to be life and death.
He's not that big. I mean, the guy was a big guy, but I mean, dude, if you're a cop, fucking be a man about things. You don't need 5 guys.
Thank you. That's my whole thing. It's like, you bring him before a grand jury and you want to talk about whether he did a murder or not. I don't think he did, but I also don't think that's the debate. I don't think it's either he did a murder or he followed the code. And no, I think there's some middle ground. Look, let's at least all agree these 5 cops are wimps. And that's not great to say. We need to appreciate the police, and I understand that. But there has to be a case where they get something has to come. They can't just go on about, look, you 5 guys are wimps. There's 5 of you. You're armed, and you jumped him. He didn't know it was coming. You did, and you still couldn't take him down?
And beyond that, you needed to use a rear naked choke. Again, you and I both know how dangerous that move is. You and I both know what you can do to somebody with that. With one guy,
sure.
Not 5. One guy, that ends. I think when we used to do it at the Wild Swan Training Center where I graduated from, Pops used to, when we graduated, put the rear naked choke on us and choke us out. And I remember he explained it basically saying, within 2 seconds you're unconscious. Within, I think it's 15 seconds you stop breathing completely, and within 30 seconds your heart stops if you don't let go of that. So, I mean, that is a very, 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 very serious hold. And there was when you have 5 guys, how about one guy grabs each limb without, there's no need for any of this. It's ridiculous. The entire scenario is ridiculous.
Well, and John, go watch the video. They did. One guy was on his right leg, one on his left, one on his right arm, one on his left. The cop that grabbed him by the head, That was the only thing left to grab. You couldn't lock around the guy's body. You didn't. But if you do, you bulldog him down like a headlock. You know a headlock. Yeah. I know it. It's totally different to choke him. Now, I'm not mad. I'm not saying that they should have done more to the cop. I don't know enough about the case, but I do know enough to know there was a time when cops were men. Okay, there was a time when they were cowboys and they were men and they had respect. And if you wore that badge, it meant something. You didn't need 5 guys to go jump a guy. I'm not mad at the cops that are shooting unarmed people. And the reason is
an honor code, and they're just not following an honor code. Again, there's a man honor code, and exactly what you said. They were cowboys, and they were just men, and they stood up for what a man should be.
Right.
And now it seems just like we got disgruntled people that are just like bullies as cops, and that's just silliness.
Yeah, but I think you got to back it up. You know, they did this same thing with 9/11. When 9/11 came down, we hear about these guys that came through Boston, they came through New York, they got box cutters onto planes. What we've never heard about to this day is who let them on the plane. What is the name of the TSA agents and what happened to them? What kind of new training did they go through? What kind of penalties? What kind of disciplinary action happened? And the reason we haven't heard is because nothing happened. The guys on 9/11 in both Boston and in New York that let those guys on the plane, that missed those box cutters, that didn't catch them at security, nothing happened. No new training, no disciplinary action, no go home for a little bit. And I'm not the guy that's against the cop. I'm honestly not. I'm on the other side of it. I always take the cop side, and I'm not necessarily against him here in terms of should he have been indicted. But at the very least, John, I think we all need to agree they're wimps. There was 5 of you armed, and there was 1 of him, and you guys knew it was coming. That changes everything. If you walk by me and you punch me, it's completely different than if you walk up to me, things escalate, and then you punch me.
I agree. And again, in both cases, this and the one in Ferguson, on this wimps topic, both of the cops ended up saying in court, oh, he was like Hulk Hogan, or oh, he was like Andre the Giant. Be a man. You know what? If you're a police officer, lift some weights then, dude. You know? Like,
right.
God forbid. Yeah, these guys are not, and again, I'm somebody that's in the exact same case that you are. I have some of my best friends in the world are police officers, and there's so many respectable police officers. And I think part of the narrative that's been lost on this has been all of the good cops out there, because now America, unfortunately, because of the national media, looks at police officers and be like, oh, you're a bunch of dicks. No, they're not. You know, most cops, 99.9% of cops are good.
For sure.
Unfortunately, these 5 guys getting caught on videotape just look like assholes and ruin it for the bunch.
Yeah,
and
you're completely right. I mean, totally. We've got an appreciation and thank you, cops, for doing your job, and they're underpaid and underthanked. And I get all of that, but these 5 guys, like I said, I'm not particularly mad at them. I'm confused, but I'm not particularly mad about it. But I am mad at the police chief. I mean, how did this work before they went out there? Did they go into a briefing room and the cop used a JPEG projector and put up this guy's picture and said, hey, we got to go take him down? Or was there more that meets the eye? Was there something far more serious and they just haven't released it? I mean, I don't buy that.
From my understanding, this guy was a repeat offender for selling cigarettes. And
right.
This is something that he's been
misdemeanor
several times. Yeah. And this is something that, you know, really and truly, there was no need to escalate this situation. They should have done the exact same thing they did the past 20 times, which, you know, it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, eventually we got to bring them down. It's a slap on the wrist crime. It's like getting jaywalking. Are you going to choke somebody out for jaywalking, dude?